What's up, guys? Nice boy here. So in this video, I wanted to show you dogs my assassin thus far. And I know that in very recent videos, I have been praising Natalia's set. Now, it's quite evident Natalia's set is Toad. So if you reset on the ladder and whatnot, and you want a pretty damn decent assassin, I would go with that. But I've been wanting to get something greater, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a fucking set. You can get that shit for like 0.5 of a high rune in total. It's bullshit. How cheap it is. So I was like, Iceman, but how is your character going to be godly as fuck if she doesn't have super expensive armors and rune words and all that? But yeah, nonetheless, I found a way around that, all right? Where I can now utilize really expensive gear. And that wasn't entirely my reasoning, but it was tempting, you know what I mean? Like, she just felt kind of cheap. And the problem is with Nat's set, you can't just fuck around with gear variations as much, not nearly as much, because your armor, your helm, your boots are always going to be the same. And you're always going to have Nat's Claw in one of your hands. My biggest dilemma that I was running into was I loved having Plague available. Because in the endgame maps now in Path of Diablo, enemies are constantly cursing that ass. So you have to have something to reduce that. It's really nice. And of course you could have a Plague or a Silence on your Mercenary, but then you can't have an Infinity on him. So he ain't all that hog. You know, Infinity really helps with the kill speed of the Blades of Ice Assassin because it pierces, of course, their cold resistance by a lot. It barely breaks any cold immunes, if any. I don't even know if it fucking breaks a single one in this game. The level 12 conviction from Infinity. But nonetheless, for those who aren't cold immune, you're just going to kick Day's ass even faster. And the same applies for Fire Immune. It breaks a few Fire Immunes. It breaks the Doom Knights in the Chaos Sanctuary, and it breaks those little fetish motherfuckers that you find like in Act 3 and in some of the endgame maps. They're in Tier 4, I believe, and they're all fire immune, those little fuckers that have the blowguns and blast darts at you. It breaks their fire immunity, and it's very convenient because in Tier 4 you can really beat some ass. So I like having the cleansing aura is the point. Now, I was experimenting some with Nat's set, and I had Nat's on the main hand, because Nat's does a lot of damage. All right, don't talk shit about this fucking claw. It's absolute Toad. Especially if you put a Burr, a Low, and an Ethrune in it, like Fatboy did. It's absolute Toad in that sense. And part of the reason I put a Burr in it is because it's damn near essential if you want Crushing Blow, the fact that you have to put a fucking Burr in Nat's claw. Excuse my language. Been drinking some coffee, all right? And as some of you know, it turns me into a dick. And my coffee turns me into a dick mug isn't with me right now. It's in the other room. But nonetheless, if you want to get your Iceman merchandise, click the link in the description below. And thank you to my patrons. May the Creator bless you and keep you. May you have many wives. And may your offspring be in number like the stars in the sky. Now, where were we? Nat set. The only other way to get Crushing Blow with an Nat set, if you don't put a Burr rune in your claw, is by having it on one of those crafted belts, which are super shitty. And the problem is, a belt is a very important spot for someone who needs Crushing Blow as an assassin, which in most cases are Uber assassins, you know what I mean? They deal with Uber Tristram, they deal with the Diablo clone. And you need T-Gods in that spot, dog, if you all going to be fighting Mephisto in Uber Tristram. Or at the least, you need String of Ears or Dungos. You know, you need some DR. You need all sorts of cray-cray shit that comes from belts. And you're stuck with a shitty crafted rare belt that has like 10 Crushing Blow max. So the only other option to get Crushing Blow on a Natalia set assassin is by having it in your claw. Your Nat's Claw in particular. Fuck that. Actually, you could have an offhand, or you can have something else in your main hand, like another claw with Crushing Blow, which There's got to be some options, right? You can make you could probably make a rune word, right? I don't fucking know. I didn't do the research on that. All right, so nonetheless, Nat's Claw is just so damn GG, and I like having to burn it just for the fuck of it. Have some crushing blow, and you're killing bosses and stuff like that, and fake enemies. And it's nice to put a low rune in there. I don't know. It's just absolute toad. So it actually saved me a lot of time. The fact that I got rid of my Nat set now. It's on a mule. I got some items to slam. I found War Travs. I found a couple goodies. Valkwing. But yeah, I really wanted to have the Cleansing Aura. Now, I was trying it on the offhand, and it works great in the offhand. Pre-Phoenix, a great way to go is to get Nat set, and then get a Plague, and have it on your offhand. Nat set gives 30 DR. You're pretty damn good with that. And 30% DR. And you can take full advantage of Plague on the offhand in that it's casting low resist like crazy on your enemies, and it can give nice benefits in your skills. This one has Wake of Fire. So yeah, a great way to go is to have this on your offhand with Nat set early on in the ladder. Just make yourself a Plague, and they're quite cheap to attain because the Chom rune in general is hard to trade. Almost as hard as a Zod rune, because nobody wants that shit. Except for the niche builds that want like a Chom in their helmet or whatnot. So they can clear up the spot for Ravenfrost and have another ring in its place. But yeah, it's after I had Phoenix, it became very tempting to want to have both of these auras at once. Not just the aura though, in fact, more of what I prefer from Phoenix is the nice damage mod it gives. Because that adds to your blade shield and everything else. And it just has some really cool effects. So I wanted to wear both of these, and obviously in that case I can't take advantage of Nat set. Shaco is a great way to go. I might put a burn, a Chom in here and free up my Ravenfrost space, but I'm not sure yet, because you really can use that AR, I think. I have a Blessed Aim Merc. Here's his gear. I need to make a better treachery for him. I need to put like an Umrune in this helm. Maybe like a 40 shaft stop with a bunch of Umrunes in it or something would be very ideal. Because he was getting his ass kicked some in T4, I think is what it was. I wouldn't mind a 2 skilled High Lords, but the amulet has, you can replace this with all sorts of things, because if you have a Runic Talons, make sure to make all your damn claws into Runic Talons, alright? Because it attacks fast as fuck. You don't even need the 20 IS from High Lords, and you don't need any IS whatsoever on gear if your Burst of Speed is like level 8 or up. So if you have Burst of Speed on and it's level 8 or up, you can have a Runic Talons on with no attack speed whatsoever on it, and no attack speed on your gear, and you're still going to be attacking at 3.33 attacks per second. It's absolute toad. I just like this ring. It's hard for me to let it go because you're casting twisters like crazy, and that stuns the enemies. I wanted some DR. So here I am without Nat set now, and she has 32 damage reduction. If I put a burn, that Shaco, I'll be up to 40. And then I could get like 5 on each of the rings. Ravenfrost 5 DR, a Carrion 5 DR, and she'll be maxed out at the 50% cap for damage reduction. It's cray-cray. And now you can fuck around with all sorts of things. With boots, I traded a Gull and a Malrune for these boots, because I was just thinking I need a high amount of total res on my boots. And as you can see here, this is 54 plus about 30 almost. So like it's like 82, 83, you know, something in that range. It's over 80 resists on these boots. And then I started making way of my charms. I was able to free up a lot of resist charms. I still have a nice maxed out res, even beyond their 75 cap with Phoenix on. And a nice 2 to lightning max resist on the String of Ears belt. But Alders, of course, gives you faster run walk, 50 life. Damage returned, which I think is really helpful, man. Especially if you don't have any mana leech. And in many cases, I don't. But it doesn't even matter with Phoenix for the most part. I've been making do with Phoenix with no mana leech. But you're casting curses like crazy with Drax. And remember, that does overshadow then your lower resist. If you're whichever one casts last, obviously it takes over. So, but I don't mind being like a a cast assassin, basically. Check this out. She's good at running this area. She's good at... Really, she's good at running everything, man. She's great at running the ice caverns. She's pretty decent at running the frigid plateau. I'll be damned. Some rare battle boots. Green. Style points for that shit. I'm gonna go to town and slam some of this stuff. But I've found peace with this set so far, and I'm really liking Shaco. Probably about 95% of her kills are from her fire trap. So of course I could have something like G-Face, like a 3-socketed G-Face here, to have some crushing blow and whatnot. But I just, when I'm going more physical, like the Chaos Sanctuary, for example, I prefer to have Natalia's Claw on. But since I freed up my neck here, it used to be if I wanted to wear Nat's Claw and still be optimal, I had to be wearing Nat's full set with my gear arrangement. But I've decided I'll keep that Claw. Obviously, I spent a lot of currency on it. But I still don't regret it, man, because it's so godly. You have to find a very godly rare to be able to take place of that. Like something with AR and max damage per character level, and 3 sockets, and a nice base enhanced damage on it, and maybe even skills. You know, something to compare. Because this, of course, comes with damage to demons, damage to undead, 200 each. Very nice, you know, attack speed, which is needed for the scissor swap. Is that how you say it? I don't know how you say it, dog. Let me know in the comments below. And it comes with ITD, and on top of that, you can get 3 sockets. The Claw is a hog. You know, it's hard to beat that with a rare. And if you do, I think it's going to be more than like the Burr and the Low Rune in general. You know, unless if you get somebody who doesn't know what they have. But I usually like to go this way for running Chaos Sanctuary. I just pop on Nat's Claw, because it does beat the shit out of enemies. But this character is not optimal for running Chaos Sanctuary. She's better at running Bell, because there are far less fire immunes on the way to Bell. And if you want, you can pop on Nat's Claw when you get to Bell. See, I like actually walking Bell, because you can find a lot of items on the way, man. And I normally don't find shit from the minions anyway. And it's good experience. But see, so when I want to go Blades of Ice, just get up in the face. But in general, I'm not even doing this. In general, I'm casting Wake of Fire Sentry. And I'm running the maps. I'm just showing that she can do chaos as well, but she's just not optimal for it. See, these guys, their fire immunity is actually broken with Infinity. And that's right, the primary reason why I want the Phoenix Shield is because of the negative 28% enemy fire res. That's a really big deal with your Wake of Fire traps. So I'll show you a map in just a minute here. We'll slam some stuff. We'll slam these G-Banes. That's a great Merc armor. He gave some shitty attack rating bonus. I'm just going to toss this shit on the ground. I don't give a fuck. Unless if it's a nice roll. 2 to skills and 3 mana after each kill. It varies from 1 to 2 to all skill levels. The enhanced defense, of course, varies, but who really cares about that? And it also varies from 3 to 4 mana per kill. Or is it 2 to... I don't know, but I believe 4 mana per kill is the max on this. It could be 5, but I know it's at least 4. I'm almost positive it's 4. Almost thankful that shit went bye-bye because I don't want to have to hold it. Now these I don't want to go bye-bye. You can trade this shit for a Vex Rune, just as it is. Probably a little bit more because it's 42 MF. Come on. What do we do? Damn! I didn't do shit! Alright, I got some CNC. Another Nat's Claw. This is like 1.5 high runes at least if you get 30s. Shit! Didn't do shit. Throwing that shit on the ground. And here's the Curious Guardian. I have 2 30s of these. One on my Amazon, the other one I like to hold and stash in case if I need it. It's not a bad idea. See, with this build, that's another benefit over Nat Set, is now I don't have to switch over to Fade if I'm in a place where enemies have Conviction and lower res as a curse that they're casting like crazy. Because I have options, you know what I mean? I can switch out my helm if I need to. So I can have Akira's Guardian and just put it over the Shaco, and then I can still use Burst of Speed. You know what I'm saying? I can still use Burst of Speed. The fuck? Shit! Okay, so I'm out. I'm out of OCs, but here. I'm going to grab a map. I'll just do it right now. And I like going this route here with this gear setup. Let's see what maps I have. The Icy Cavern, she does really well. These guys have, okay, these guys have fire res, but that's okay. She'd probably still do it quite well. So here's this one. What's this? This one's towed. And they cast amp damage. Like I said, in these scenarios, Plague is great. And I think in this ladder, with these new map setups where they're casting curses like crazy, Plague is more desirable than ever. I used to like having it on the offhand, but now I think there's more of a demand for it than ever. But see, here's what she does. She can just cast this shit. She's pretty good at survival. These guys are probably your most difficult adversary, especially if they're immune to physical and fire. But she can teleport around to control her Merc. She has good DR. Her res are maxed. If she gets one of those curses on her, she does an okay job with the cleansing aura. And this claw actually has 17 on it. It varies in the rolls. But you see, it's chill. Alright, this build is chill. This ain't like the Bozan where you're on your toes and you're getting the shit beat out of you. She has a nice blade shield that's constantly healing her. She has pretty defensive gear. She can block, be it with 2 claws and the claw block skill or a shield. She's going to be blocking. She has an additional, no, she doesn't have an additional minion, but she has a really nice minion. And she has all sorts of procs with this gear arrangement. And she can have Phoenix on, you know, it's towed. So the Bozans are great. They can do everything, but I ain't gonna lie, I get kind of bored of that. You're just sitting back with multi-shot, that's all you fucking do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a Bozan, she's level 93. She can do it all, man. She's godly as fuck. I'll probably make a video on her sometime soon. But you're just sitting back, blasting multi-shot and shooting immolation arrow. See, this assassin, you have all sorts of gear options. You can fuck around with all sorts of auras and procs. I put Hellmouth on her gloves. You don't always have to have laying of hands in your gloves. You know, you can switch out all sorts of gear and still be okay. You don't need any IAS on your amulet, so you don't have to use High Lords or Cat's Eye like the Bozan. You can use whatever the fuck you want. You can put on Atmos Scarab, and like every damn hit, you're casting the amp damage. Because like I said, every hit emits, I think it's 20 ice shards, each of which can proc any of your skills that you have on your gear that are on chance to hit. No, I'm not casting my Wake of Fire as much. Here we go. I'll cast the Wake of Fire. But yeah, she was just walking through T4, just killing damn near everything. But yeah, that Blade Shield is really important. That's another thing with Nat's Claw. Early on especially, if that ignores target's defense, it's going to be hitting everything, man. That's not like a boss, unique, or a champion. With no issue. And it just heals you. But you see here, she can just run through this shit, and you can chill. And she's a jack of all trades, man. As I said before, you can do declone with this character. You know, I might have to tweak her a little bit. You could do Uber Tristram with this character. I'm thinking I could do Uber Tristram without even respecking. Just a few gear switches, maybe even with this build in Nat's Claw. I'm thinking I could. I want to try it. Alright, and I'll make a video on it if I do. She's a jack of all trades, dog. With this gear setup, she has 100 MF. She doesn't have any Geeds. No Geeds charm. Only a couple MF charms. Yeah, she just stays alive. I could take off Drax and have Soul Drainer in place of it, and then I won't be overcasting her lower res from her claw. And she should be killing a little faster. In fact, she most certainly will be killing a little faster without Drax on. Drax are just nice because they're defensive. You know, I'm comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I'm comfortable with them Drax on my women. And here's the boss. Healing like crazy with Phoenix. It's barely ever even needed. For the boss, it's more ideal to pop on your Nat's Claw real quick when you're fighting her. I'll show you the difference. This one's hard because I don't use the traps on her because she just runs around way too much. With all the other bosses, see, here's without Nat's Claw. But Nat's Claw is actually a better boss killer. See her life go down? If I can get on her. If I can get on that ass. And this boss is kind of thick, you know? She's just a pesky because she runs around so much. But she can kill the root of all evil with no problem. She just whacks that ass down, especially with Drax. Drax are nice to have for when you're fighting those thick bosses like that, like the root of all evil and so forth. I'm always picking up these claws. I'm always picking up the javelins. Especially the magic ones. The magic javelins can be very expensive. Ooh, look at that. The magic claws. On the Reddit page not too long back, someone found a 40 IES, 6 to javelin and spear skills, magic ceremonial javelin. And everyone was just praising this person's find, this toad's find, and they were saying things like, you can get 50 to 100 high runes for that. Folks just trade up big time for them. See, and she has amp damage on her right now. Merc died. Sometimes a Merc will die. Oh, 3 to blade shield. Look at that. Those are toad. Let's see if they have another skill. That's what you gotta find right there. You gotta look for that shit. Oh, they're ethereal. Oh, shit. I don't know. Someone might want those. It's more ideal to have an ethereal one that you're going to be wielding in on your main setup and not just your switch for procking or your pre-buff. But there still might be some toad out there who wants an ethereal one. We'll find out. I'm going to put them up on the trade site. I'm going to look up comparables. But yeah, man, this character. See, I was planning on taking a break for a minute, but then I thought, kind of want to make an assassin. And this has been damn fun playing this Famine. There's strategy, you know what I mean? And like I said, there's a lot of variation to the gameplay, I think. And in addition, at the same time, there's automated skills, which I like. There's skills that track enemies. You know, your traps will track the enemies. Your blade shield tracks the enemies. I just like shit that does that, where you can just sit back and chill. You know, you had a long fucking day, maybe. You don't really feel like, you know, being on your toes and just whacking the shit out of everything with Blaze of Ice. You can just sit back and chill. See, look at that lower res cast on these guys. And then that damn life tap will take over occasionally. In fact, maybe I'll switch out the gloves. And you could wear Blood Fist on her. Is a great option with life on hit, I think. Because then you'll free up, because I want to be at the 48 FHR breakpoint, and she just hits it with these 2 shells in the shotgun. See this? She's at 50. Because then I popped on 2 5 FHR small chums somewhere in here. But if she uses Blood Fist, I could put, like I said, a Chom rune and a Burr rune in the Shako, or 2 Burr runes in the Shako. But I think that would be a waste because you could eventually get the DR reduction on the rings, which I don't think, you know, there's anything quite that compares to that you can get on the ring rolls. I don't give a fuck about 10 MF. Run walk is nice, but she's really running pretty damn fast. But I wouldn't mind 10 run walk, but you know, you can make up for that with charms, and you can't make up for damage reduction with charms. So it just frees up a lot of things. I mean, I'm thinking endgame, Shaco's going to need 1 Burr rune and something else. I don't know what. Maybe a Chom rune, but the Raven Frost is nice. You got some Cold Absorb. See, then I'd probably put a Dwarf Star in the place of it. I don't know if I want to go so far out with just demanding plus skills on everything, because of course you could have a PK ring, which would be nice. This build, especially with Shaco, you don't need mana. So SOJ is not going to be much of an issue. That's another interesting part, is this this Wake of Fire at level 37. It costs 13 mana to cast. Alright? And your pre-buffs, of course, cost some mana that you have to cast every couple minutes. But just one hit with your Blade Shield against anyone, if you have like 6 mana leech or greater, you're gonna leech it. And as mentioned, in this situation, you don't need it with Phoenix. But I have it on these gloves right now, actually. Soul Drainer. And that negative 50 monster defense per hit really adds up, man. You could beat the shit out of the bosses with that. I don't know if I could use it on the Ubers, though, because Dracs are pretty damn important. I'd have to have a lore or a life tap wand if I wanted to attempt Ubers without wearing Dracs on this character. But there's the low res casting on things. Yeah, it's Toad. This character's Toad. Oh! Set Amulet. There's no way it's going to be Tals. I found too many of them. I found a Tals, though, this ladder. I actually missed one as well. A guy and I were running toward it in the Chaos Sanctuary. This is quite early on. I was pissed. And I asked him what it was, and he said it was Tals. Unless if he was lying to me. So there she is, though, man. So let me know what you dogs think about this assassin. I don't know if she can run T5. You know, T5 is good for bosons, obviously. I might try it. It might also partly depend on the stats that the map rolls. I just don't quite remember how many fire immunes are in T5. But of course, she could do it. I'm almost positive she could do it, because she does a lot of fire damage, she does a lot of cold damage, and she does a decent amount of physical damage. I'd put on Nat's Claw, probably, for T5. For when you're fighting the Pit Lords, is that what they're called? I think they're the Pit Lords. But there's that Venom. So if you guys will, let me know in the comments what you think about my Venom. I'm kind of considering going Assassin. Ooh, War Boots, look at that. Ghoul Riders. Finding all sorts of shit. Not far. 2/3 almost. Maybe about 2/3 to level 92. And yeah, every time you level, what I've been doing is I've just been pumping up my Shadow Master. I just think it's nice to have her. She casts a lot of things. I think she casts Cloak of Shadow sometimes, but of course I cast that as well. I have that hotkeyed. Yeah, Cloak of Shadows is great, especially early on. Or in a really bitch map where there's just a ton of ranged enemies. You can just cast that Cloak of Shadows and it'll really help for defensive purposes. A Dusk Shroud. See what that's like. I'm going to hang on to a few fire or lightning res grand charms or small charms. Keep them in stash in case if I want to try the Ubers. Because in order to still have max light res, I think at 75, I don't know, maybe it's 85. You have to have 215 light res in total. And with her current gear setup, it's very low. So you just have to stack it with charms, I think is what I'd end up doing. Or put like an Ort rune in the G-Face or two, but I don't think I'd try them with G-Face. I'd try them with Shaco, because I like the DR that it already comes with. And the life, of course, is really nice. And mine in particular has 40 FHR. And I wouldn't settle for less than the 48 FHR breakpoint for attempting over Tristram. Or Diablo clone. And it's just nice, man, when she recuperates so fast. The 86 or 89 breakpoint would be great. But it's just too much of a gear sacrifice with her current gear setup. But that shouldn't be underlooked. You know what I'm saying? Like, you also got to look out for your faster hit recovery on many of your characters. The Novasork really needs it. I think mine has like the 80 breakpoint or wherever that is. 5 MF. And 30 attack rating, that's not bad. But here, I'm going to slam those boots. I appreciate my patrons. Thank you for supporting me. If you want to become a patron, click the link in the description below. So these are 165 enhanced defense, Go Riders. Oh shit. Yeah, that's great. 14 light res. These are Toad. Very nice boots. Those should go for an okay amount right there. I'm not entirely sure for what, but they should go for a decent amount. I always pick these up if they're 3 skills and slam them. Or cube socket them. It's a Ral, and a Perfect Amethyst. And if you get 4 sockets at this point in the ladder, you could at least get an ist for them. So I save those. But I'll talk to you all later. Peace be with you.